The parties are potentially asking for the elections to be delayed. However, the IEC says this would cost millions. Our guest now is Professor Rennie Naidoo at the School of Business Sciences at Wits University. Professor Naidoo, good evening to you. I mean, it seems to me that the parties here are going to have to prove that the computer systems of the IEC were not working. Could that be quite difficult to prove?
Well, Stephen, this online candidate nomination system has to meet certain principles. When we speak about designing these technologies, we talk about fairness, inclusiveness, and in our democracy, we speak a lot about being very wary about technologies not exacerbating the digital divide. So for me, it seems like the new parties, they have a plausible case. And apart from the election laws, which strive for inclusiveness, fairness, and I'm by no means a legal expert, but, being involved in designing systems, there's two other acts, the POPI Act, the Electronic Communication Transaction Acts. They call for things like informed consent, confidentiality, securing information, and a case could be made about the data integrity with this online candidate nomination system, and whether it does facilitate and remove barriers to information. So it seems plausible to me that there's a case to be made.
I would presume you would have to design a system knowing that many people would be coming at the last minute and there'll be a lot of traffic at the last minute. We see this with online application problems all the time. But is it difficult to actually design a system that can take in a lot of information? And each of these applications, by the way, is a large amount of information. You have to put in scanned document signatures, things like that. And to do it all really in the same sort of 3 hours, the last 3 hours before the deadline.
Stephen, this is the expectation we have these days with these technologies. I mean, you'd remember, we speak about the Black Friday sales and where we have a lot of issues with these online systems. And over time, you see that vendors have improved what we call the peak time performance of these systems. So certainly, you have to build these systems so that they are scalable. You have to build these systems with that in mind, the expectation that end users will use the system in the last minute, and they expect the system to perform. And reviewing the system, I think again there's a case to be made. Perhaps it was not scalable. Perhaps it did not meet those peak time requirements where a whole number of users come online and they get on doing these bulk uploads, which the IEC expects from these smaller parties, and for the system to struggle in those instances.
I mean, I know people are going to argue, and I'm sure the IEC and others have argued that the smaller parties shouldn't have left it to the last minute, but I'm sure they won't be the only ones. So if the IEC can prove that another party was able to do all its registration stuff in exactly the same time period, that would probably matter in this case.
Well, Stephen, I think your viewers would recognize this as well. We all have different experiences with online technologies. A thing like your location, geographically where you're located could influence your experience. The type of web browser could influence your experience. So it's incumbent on the IEC to design a system that is accessible to a broad community. I mean, that's what by design they call for, and especially when you're expecting, this tedious, cumbersome work, it seems to me, still the use of Excel spreadsheets to upload name, candidate information, details, ID information, details, signature information,
Professor Rennie Naidoo, thank you at the School of Business Sciences at Wits University. Do appreciate the time on Ballot Brief tonight.